Hello, this is Zoe, the Tantalising Stamper. Today I'm sharing how to do the setback stamping technique for the Totally Techniques blog hop, September 2025. Setback stamping, and this is the effect that I'm going to show you how to do today. I've got two pieces of white card, the same size. I've got one standard card base, and these are both slightly smaller. So if you're looking at metric, it's a card base that is 21 centimetres by 14.8, scored at 10.5 in the middle. And then I've got two pieces of card that are 10 by 14.3 each. And I'm going to start by stamping the design, which I've got from Christmas Greenery, which is part of the Traditions of Christmas suite. And I'm stamping in black Memento Ink. So I want to get it nice and inky. Make sure you get the ink right across your image. And I'm using my grid paper just to help me line up, so I get them in approximately the same position each time. I'm going to use the bottom of my block to line it up with the card, the bottom of the card, and just stamp. Make sure I get the whole thing. There we go. And that one I'm going to put over there. And then I'm going to do exactly the same thing on the second piece of card, which will be the piece that I cut to add over the image and separate it to a certain degree to make sure that it looks like it's all set back. And I'm using the stamp again to get it in that place. We go. We can put that away now. We can put the ink out of the way. So that one over here, and then I've got several Stampin' blends that I'm going to use to colour my image. Starting with, let me see, I've got Berry Burst. So I've got dark Berry Burst that I'm going to just, I'm not going to do traditional colours. You can get different colour poinsettias. So I'm doing a little bit of that and then adding a bit of detailing in the flowers. You can see I've never considered myself a colourer. So it's just a question of adding colour rather than needing a particular skill to do it, although I admit some people do it particularly well. But what I'm trying to show you is that you don't have to be an expert to get this to work. Then we've got Bubble Bath, and I'm going to start off with the dark and try and colour where I think there would be a little bit of shade, so where the leaves overlap. And I'm literally, as you can see, just adding colour. Not in any particular way, just adding the colour to my image to give it some definition, thinking about light and shade. There we go. In fact, I might take that a bit further. What you can do is use the lines of the image just to add the shading there. And we've got the light, so we can add a little bit more and draw. I find if I draw it back towards the centre, it just blends, helps to blend it. There we go, like that. Ooh, I don't want the leaf. And then I also am going to use a little bit of light petal pink just to lighten it even further. So you blend it over where the bubble bath ends. And with things like this, sometimes I think it doesn't hurt if you end up with a few little bits of white showing, because it just Again, helps that light and shade. But if you're worried about colouring, you can see that I'm not doing this in any precise way, really. And there we go. So then the flowers, I think I might just add just a touch of bubble bath, a little bit on the seams where the leaves overlap, just to put a bit of colour where we've got these creases, but not masses, because I want them to stay white more or less. So we're just giving them a hint of colour. I think sometimes the trick is to stop. So there we go, we've got that. And then the leaves, I've got soft sea foam, I've got Lost Lagoon, and I've also got lemon lime twist. So I'm going to start with dark Lost Lagoon and bring, again, think about where I think the light might be and where the shadows might be. Take it up the lines, let the image help you. And think about where if you have the light coming in one way, then you can shade the other. Oh, mustn't forget that one. Just little bits. And then as you go round, you can then bring in the lighter. Again, blend it back. If you go round in order, it gives the chance of the ink from the previous pen just to settle a little bit, and for you to add a bit more detail. Where did I go next? I think I was up here, wasn't I? So I just keep adding that. And then I'm going to bring in a totally different green just to finish those off. So I'm going to go straight in with the dark soft sea foam. I've got the bullet this time so that I can really blend it. Start in the right place, Zoe. But there you go. Again, it shows no precision is required. So you can have a go. Don't be put off by thinking you need to be perfect, because you don't. And these pens are just great for, if you just double over those where the colours are joining and make sure they blend into each other. Just go round in little circles and it helps it all blend in and look like a continuous bit of colour with different shades. So there we go. Okie dokie. And then I'm going to use the light lemon lime twist to start off with. And literally following the lines. Using the brush tip. You don't need to press hard. In fact, the softer you can be, the better. It protects the nibs. And it also gives you a little bit more control, but by being gentle. We'll let that air a little bit, and then I think we'll go back in with the light Lost Lagoon. And this time I will use the bullet again, just to add some shade up the middle. You don't have to do very much, but you can see I'm just dotting the nib, which you wouldn't want to do with your brush end. If you do it with the bullet end, it's fine. Where it overlaps a little bit, you can add a bit more for shading. If we just come up, those are overlapping. And there we go. So there's your image. And that's going to stay because that's going to go onto my base card. But what I'm next going to do is I don't need to colour this one right now, but what I'm going to do is I've got some double-sided foam adhesive. So it's a foam piece, a solid piece, similar to the dimensionals, and I'm going to decide where I'm going to put that. So if I put the images next to each other so that I can try and judge which bit I want, this just helps you line it up. And I'm going to go for this central piece here, I think. So if I put that on there, then I know where to put it. And what I can do to help it, make it a little bit easier to get it exactly where I want it. If I just put a little mark there and there and there, I can put that safely out of the way. You don't have to do this, but it might just, if you're worried about getting it in the right place, this is just an easy way to line it up. Now, this is, as I said, double-sided adhesive, so I'm just going to peel that off, and I'm going to pop that between those two markers, make it straight, and then turn that over. I'm not taking the backing off, so I'm not sticking it on anything yet, but I'm then going to take my die and I'm going to cut this image out, because I'm then going to cut a couple of pieces. I'm going to cut away from the sticky tape, because all I want is this little piece in the middle so that I can add some colour, and then my stamping on my image will seem like it's set back. So I'm just off to do some die cutting. So I've brought it back on the cutting plate so that you can see what I've done. I put the die onto the image, bearing in mind that I have the double-sided adhesive, and yes, your die will cut it. You might want to go through it through your machine a couple of times. I've just done it the once, so I'm hoping it's gone through okay. And then if I just very carefully take this out, and the beauty with this is that you can then colour this image and you can create a second card if you want to colour it in the same way. And I've also teamed it then with the dies, stamps and the embossing folder, which I've reversed from the same Traditions of Christmas suite. And again, it's slightly different colours to your traditional red and green. You may or may not like it, but it just gives you different options. At a push, you could put a happy birthday for anyone with a December birthday. So I've now got that piece to put somewhere safe. Now, what I need to do is very carefully, I'm going to, in fact, I think what I'll do first is colour it. So I've got my blending brushes here, and I'm going to use the Bubble Bath ink. So ink up your brush, and then I'm going to, because I can come in from outside, I'm going to add some subtle colour. I did look at using a piece of Bubble Bath card, but actually I wanted it softer, and the Bubble Bath card itself was just a little bit too Bubble Bath. So this time I'm using a blending brush to add colour. To all the piece that has the double-sided adhesive foam on the back. So you just got to make sure you go the whole way. You could of course cut this before and then ink each piece. It just gives you a bit more to hold on if you leave it all in one piece. So I think we're there now. Just checking that I've got colour. I can always add a little bit afterwards. But now what I'm going to do is just grab a cutting mat. And then I've got, I've got my scalpel from the pick a tool. Take a tool, pick a tool. I can never remember the name of it. And then I'm using a bone folder because it's pretty sturdy to cut by. I'm going to cut down there and cut there. That piece is excess now. And then the same on this side. Now you could use a ruler. If you've got a metal ruler, then that's perfect. I haven't got one. So this is better than using my plastic ruler, where if I'm a bit wobbly, I can cut my ruler rather than, for example, like that. I can end up cutting the wrong piece. As you can see, I'm doing a good job of cutting the wrong piece, but there we go. So I've now got those two pieces that you'll see where they fit in just a moment. I'll clear the decks. And at this stage, if you want to, you can add a little bit more ink if you want it a bit stronger colour. And you can add a bit more pressure by putting your finger on your brush if you want to. There we go. So now I've brought back my image, and then I can fit these pieces. I just have to get the right side. That goes around the fern. That goes there. That's it. Now you could do all of this with sticky pad Stampin' Dimensionals, but the foam just saves you trying to add different little pieces and keeps it all in the right place. So I'm going to take that backing off now. Just get this in the right place again. Lining it up with the edge of the card. That goes on there. And then we've got this one that will go on here. And obviously you want to try and keep them in line. So this is where, again, you could use you can use a ruler. Use your bone folder, I was going to say. Or use a ruler. Just get those where you want them. There we go. Then if I bring in I've got my card base, but first of all I'm going to add a sentiment. I'm going to use the traditional labels, which comes from the Traditions of Christmas suite, and I'm going to do similar to what I did with the other one that I made. So I'm going to have Merry Wishes. So there we go. Or in fact, perhaps we could have Happy Wishes this time. And I'm stamping that in just black. I'm going to put that around there or there. There we go. I think that would look okay. If we take that one off, we can put the wishes on. And we can put that around there this time. Oh, I've got it very inky, so hopefully it's okay. Jolly good. There we go. The next thing is to pop this onto my card base. Now it depends on your postage. I think this will go quite happily through the post. So I'm actually going to use some more. I'm going to use some dimensionals. Let's have a look. Yeah, I will use those. Oh, I've got a big packet there. So we can put those over there. And you probably don't want to put too many on, because you're just holding it on. Give it some support in the middle. If you come in from the edges, it helps as well. In fact, if I put it in the middle, it's avoiding this thickness that I've added on the back, so it's probably easiest to do it like that. And then if I just swap tools and use my little hook here, wrong end, I can take all of these off. And then line that up on my card base like that. So, finishing touches. If you watch me regularly, you know that I like a bit of bling. So I'm going to add some Wink of Stella to give a little bit of sparkle to the lighter areas on the leaves. And again, no precision needed. It's just easy. This is such a great tool. It doesn't add bulk, but it adds a lot of wow. And you just, I don't know if you can see on the camera, possibly not. It just adds a little bit of sparkle when you twist it in the light, which if you're sending for Christmas, it's always nice, isn't it? And I think this is probably a little bit more eco-friendly than putting glitter on in any other shape. So there we go. Don't know if you can see it now, maybe. But what we'll finally do is I've also got some iridescent faceted gems. These are currently in the last chance list and have been reduced, so great time to buy them. Add back to your order. If we pop one on there, we'll go for a little one as well. Perhaps go up there. We'll have some down at the bottom here. And another bigger one down there. And there you go. So you can have merry wishes, happy wishes, whatever you want wishes. And remember, the piece that you cut out doesn't go to waste because it sticks on really nicely because it's already got a pad on the back, so it's got lots of stability. If you were worried, you could stick the odd one on there, but I think you've got more than enough. If you colour it in, and you can add it onto your card. Another one that I did, if you prefer the traditional, you can add the reds and greens and the colours of Christmas. So there we are. Thank you for joining me with setback stamping. I hope it's something that you'll give a try to. If you want more information, you can please do subscribe to my YouTube channel, which I'm currently trying to build up. And thank you for watching me today. Bye bye.